Can you be too old to gain muscle? Watch this.
Our next caller is Dan from Canada.
Dan, what's happening? How can we help you?
Hey guys. Well, first of all, it's Thanksgiving Day here in Canada, and so happy Thanksgiving. And I'm giving thanks to have this opportunity to chat with you guys. So I'm going to be 64 this year. A little bit of background. Actually, 64 in about 4 days, and I've been a lifelong musician, mainly as a sideman. But the last 10 years ago, I decided to try and do a solo career. And so it was basically, I knew I had to make, some changes. So lifestyle. So I started working out consistently, doing tons of cardio, low calorie diet, intermittent fasting for longevity benefits. And then I discovered Mind Pump and realized I was doing everything wrong. So I realized that, I learned so much through your podcast and Sal's book. I bought the RGB bundle and several other bundles the past 3 years, and I've been consistently following and tracking MAPS Anabolic and Aesthetic. Lifting has really become a second passion for me, and I appreciate the benefits as I age. So I've continued to practice and improve my technique, getting deeper in my squats and better range of motion, as you guys are always preaching. And, that provides a level of satisfaction. But I'm wondering if I should be using metrics other than strength and muscle gain to measure my progress. And why I'm asking is I've checked out other podcasts that are geared towards my demographic, but they're usually hosted by guys who have lifted forever. And I've only started, so they don't resemble me or my history. So where I only started 3 years ago, I'm wondering how realistic is strength and muscle gain? And over the past 2 years, whenever I attempt to lean bulk, really tracking my macros accurately, the weight I gain seems to be mainly fat. As then when I try and do a cut, I return to my previous body measurements and similar lift results. So I should say that because I was about 40 pounds overweight when I started this journey, I know that I do get a little reluctant to eat in a calorie surplus for a long period of time when I see the scale go up by more than 10 pounds. So I know you guys are probably going to say that's probably the issue as well, but now shut up and ask for your advice.
You look great, bro, by the way. Yeah, you look phenomenal.
Well, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I got to keep up with my band is all 20 to 25 years younger than me.
Dan, for most adults, consistent strength training, the results happen very quickly in that first year. After the first year, it really does tend to slow down. And after year 3, it slows down significantly. Okay, and this is for any adult male. Now, at your age, it's probably going to happen a little faster because you start to, once you get to 70, then what you're doing, you're kind of fighting the decline is what you're doing with strength training.
Right.
And it really, and you already know this, you don't want to compare yourself to people or to yourself in your 20s. Look at yourself in comparison to other people in your age group. You're light years more fit, probably more mobile, and have better energy than most 64-year-olds do. So that's really the only fair comparison. As far as bulk is concerned, I would bulk and I would use health and energy as the metric with the bulk, not necessarily weight on the scale, and maybe not even necessarily too much weight on the bar. Right. You will see the weight go up on the bar, but at some point, pushing strength and just size, you start to take away from things like health, longevity, and energy. So bulking is okay, but use kind of energy and how you feel. When you start to feel bogged down, when you start to feel like, oh, I'm kind of stuffed or my digestion's off, then reverse out of it. That's how I would treat the bulk. So it's probably going to be a short bulk. You're probably going to bulk for 3 weeks or 4 weeks at a time. And then
okay, cool.
And then go back to maintenance versus like a 12-week bulk. Where you're pushing.
That's exactly what I was going to suggest. Is like our mini cuts, mini bulk. So you're never going to be in a calorie surplus longer than a couple weeks, and then you go right back to your deficit, back to a surplus, back to a deficit. So you're spending a little more time in the surplus than you are deficit, but you're going right back. And again, like to Sal's point, I mean, I think you look phenomenal or doing killer right now, dude. I think that if you maintaining the way you look and feel, and if we're feeling good in the morning and your joints are feeling good, I mean, to me, that's the most important thing where you're at. Does that mean you can't build more muscle at your age? Absolutely, you can. But I think the longevity, staying healthy, feeling good, that stuff matters so much more, especially with what you're trying to do. It's about performance, right? And feeling good while you're probably on stage for hours, right? So yeah, that's the stuff that I would be asking feedback. So to me, if you were my client and you just did, you just got done with a set, and I'm like, how'd you feel afterwards? Like, I care more about that than going like, hey, did we hit our bench max last week?
Yeah.
I want to hear that you got to crush the thing that you love and you felt great doing it. That means however we're training and dieting, I'm honing in on that. So that's, to me, that's the greatest feedback.
Cool, man. Because that's I do feel fantastic. I guess my point was like, I was wondering about, should I continue to even bulk? Should I just look at maintaining? I was thinking about you, Adam, actually, when you had talked about how you used to, use that 5 pounds up, 5 pounds down when you were, going through, and not worry about like bulking a whole bunch, but just, where you changed your whole physique kind of thing with that. And so my question was really like, should I just look at maintaining, or, sounds like I'd love to try that approach, because what happens to me is I gain, and then I kind of get nervous. I'm like, oh man, I don't feel right. So that's perfect advice, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, just go for short bulks. And then when you start to feel like, I'm done with it, then back out of it. So it'll probably be like 2 to 4 weeks at the most. That's probably what you're looking
Dan,
at.
Do you have Maps Prime or Prime Pro, either one of those?
I got both of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to try and give you. I was trying to give you something.
I got to focus more on that, because I understand totally. That's what I want to be able to maintain my mobility and flexibility for sure.
Yeah. No, you're good, man. You're set.
You doing a lot of guitar whips and jump hacks on stage, or what? Man?
Man, I probably can't keep up with you, I'm sure, but yeah.
No, I'm
I try.
Wow. Yeah, you already look great, man. I'm just wondering, like, what more can we do?
I so appreciate you guys so much. Like I was saying that my whole lifestyle and approach to fitness. I know everybody says this to you, but it's been your approach. I've got Sal's book, and it's like my whole approach has been because of you guys. So thanks so much.
You got it.
Appreciate
Awesome,
the support,
Thank you
Dan.
so much.
All righty. Thanks, guys.
You got it.
Thanks.
Yeah, this brings up a good point.
I love talking to people like that.
So do I. Yeah. This really brings up a good point where we preach a lot about, building muscle and getting strong and how important that is. But at some point, you don't focus on that anymore. You can only go so far. Yeah. Look at us, right? We've been working out for so long. I could push and try, and I'm not going to gain that much more muscle, anymore. It's just, and if I keep pushing in that direction, I start to sacrifice quality of life and health. And so at some point, it just becomes feeling good, and it's a back and forth thing. Like, I gain a little bit, I lose a little bit, and a little bit more ability and more strength, and maybe a little bit more stamina. And just because you're enjoying the process, that's really what the focus at that point.
Well, especially, dude looks like he was 30.
Yeah.
He looks great.
He looks great. I think he's just, he's out in public a lot more. He's going to be like on display, and he's around a bunch of young people. And so it's like, he's in his head a bit, right? He already looks awesome. It's like, what can I do to maybe add a little bit more, to my physique? So I get that.
But at the end of the day, it's again, going back to what I said to him, is that the feedback I'm wanting to hear is like, I care more about, touching bases with him on a bi-weekly basis and going, hey, how did we sleep last week? How was your, your guitar practice? How was the concert? Like, and you telling me, oh man, Adam, I felt good, and I felt he slept well, and I kicked ass out. Like, okay, versus you going like, oh, my bench press, it dropped back like, 15, 20 pounds. I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Like where he's at, like just feeling good.
And now that being said, if somebody's watching right now in their 60s and they're starting strength training and they're wondering, can I build muscle and strength?
You definitely can.
Significant muscle and strength. It just slows down after a few years. That's all.